Welcome to today's story. We are going to travel to the rugged cliffs of Cornwall, England, where one of the most fascinating rocks in history stands. Or should I say, rocks back and forth. This is the tale of the Logan Rock of Treen, a story filled with mystery, legends, and even a little scandal. So sit back and let's dive into this incredible journey. On the edge of the cliffs overlooking the English Channel, about a mile south of the small village of Treen, stands a massive stone weighing 80 tons. Imagine that, 80 tons. But here's the twist. This giant rock is so perfectly balanced on its base that even a child could once move it with just a gentle push. The rock is called Logan Rock, and the names come from the old Cornish word logging, which simply means rocking. Cornwall has a few of these balancing stones, but Logan Rock is by far the most famous. Long ago, people did not believe that such rocks were a natural wonder. They thought they were placed there by humans, maybe even by the ancient Druids. According to old legends, Logan Rock was no ordinary stone. It was a kind of magical judge. The story went like this: if someone touched the rock with a pure heart, it would move easily. But if a person was guilty, even a giant's strength could not make it budge. In fact, poet William Mason wrote in the 18th century that it would move at the lightest touch of the innocent, but remain fixed for traitors, no matter how strong they were. So in the eyes of locals, Logan Rock was not just a stone, it was a sacred test of truth. The rock even caught the attention of scholars. In 1754, Dr. William Borlace described it in detail in his book Antiquities of Cornwall. He noted how huge it was, yet so finely balanced that it could be moved by hand. And he also explained why it was nearly impossible to knock it out of a place with levers or tools. In other words, this was not just a tourist attraction. It was a marvel of nature, respected and admired. Now comes the dramatic part of the story. Fast forward to the year 1824. A young Royal Navy officer named Lieutenant Hugh Goldsmith, who by the way was the nephew of the famous poet Oliver Goldsmith, arrived in Cornwall. He was in command of a small ship called the HSM Nimble. After hearing about the mysterious Logan Rock, Goldsmith became curious. Was it really immovable, or was it all about just a local myth? So one evening, after finishing their naval duties, he gathered 9 sailors and set off to test the stone. At first, Goldsmith and his men tried using hand spikes to lever the rock, but it did not budge. Then they began rocking it harder and harder. They pushed with such force that Goldsmith himself started to worry it might actually topple. He shouted for them to stop, but it was too late. With a mighty lurch, the Logan Rock fell off its perch. Luckily, it did not tumble into the sea, where it would have been lost forever. Instead, it got stuck in a narrow crevices below. But still the damage was done. The legendary Logan Rock was no longer in its place. When word spread through Cornwall, the people were furious. Logan Rock was not just a wonder, it was a major tourist attraction. Families earned their living by guiding visitors to see it, and now because of Goldsmith's reckless stunt, it was gone. One local politician, Sir Richard Vivian, declared that Goldsmith should be prosecuted with full force. Many townspeople even demanded that the Royal Navy strip him of his commission unless he restored the rock at his own expense. Goldsmith was shocked. In a letter to his mother, he admitted he had no idea how important the rock was. He wrote that the newspaper made him out to be the worse than a murderer, and the whole town of Penzance was in uproar. Thankfully, Goldsmith found an ally. A well-known engineer and politician, Davis Gilbert, convicted the Admiralty to help. They provided equipment for free and even donated money to the cause, but Goldsmith still had to pay most of the cost himself, around £130, which was a huge amount at the time. After months of planning, the great operation began on October 29, 1824. More than 60 men worked together, using ropes, pulleys, and sheer manpower. Finally, on November 2nd, in front of the thousands of spectators, Logan Rock was hauled back up the cliff and carefully placed in its original spot. However, there was one problem: it never rocked quite the same again. For a while after its restoration, The rock was chained and padlocked, so no one could repeat Goldsmith's mistake. The anchor holes from that effort can still be seen around the site today. Although Logan Rock does not rock as easily as it once did, it still moves if you push it in just the right way. According to later historians, if you have the southwestern corner with a steady rhythm, the motion can continue with just one hand. As for Lieutenant Goldsmith, he never rose very high in the Navy. He kept commanding small ships until his death at the sea in 1841. He did, however, repay the debt for moving the rock before he died, perhaps as a way of clearing his conscience. And that's, my friend, is the tale of the Logan Rock of Treen, a story of nature's wonder, old legends, and a mistake that nearly destroyed a famous landmark. Next time you visit Cornwall, stand by the cliffs of Treen, feel the sea breeze, and remember the story of the rock that once balanced so delicately it could be moved by a child. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from around the world. Until next time, keep exploring. Thanks for watching.